The Blues Fan Forum podcast is presented by Interstate 70 Sports Media Group. I-70 strives to bring you the best sports coverage in the tri-state area. Find them on Facebook or at interstate70sports.media.
This is Jordan Bennington, and you're listening to the Blues Fan Forum podcast.
Skating on the ice, under St. Louis city lights, where the Blues play with all their might. Jordan Cairo, fast on the attack, but defense falters, gotta cut him some slack. In rubber tongues, we find our glory. His skills shine, the team's best story. St. Louis Blues, we wear the crest. In Jordan Bennington, we put our trust to the test. On the ice, we fight and we must, for the city we love. In the blue, no we'll thrust.
All right, folks, I apologize for that. That is not our intro. That was the Blues Fan Forum podcast. Getting used to this new system here, folks. What we have today instead, check out at me, boy, is we have the return of Issues with Wrestling with Christopher Miles and Jared Shannon. Jared, it's been a long time. How you been, man?
It has been a very long time. I have been wonderful. How have you been, Mr. Christopher Miles?
Unhealthy, grew a beard, it's been quite a stretch of time, I will say, sir. But it's, we're back now, and since we're back to the show, back to what we're doing, figure we might as well go all the way back and do Road to WrestleMania to Road to WrestleMania. All the stuff that's been going on while we've been gone. Cover all our bases, try and get everybody a little taste of something that we're doing. So I have to ask, uh, what to you has been like the keynote, a number one thing that's happened between the two manias since we've been gone?
Oh, that is very easy. Gunther finally taking his crown and taking the plate that no one has stepped up to take.
Okay, well, let's start there then. Gunther. This was a guy who had a legendary IC title reign and gets the chance to run with the ball and be the world heavyweight champion and be the guy. Um, he's now the career killer. I mean, is there anybody that's having a better year than Gunther?
Absolutely not. When you look at Gunther, stepped in the ring and had not really a storyline, but had possibly a phenomenal match of the year with John Cena, and then that ended up not only killing Cena's career, but went ahead and killed AJ Styles' career the same exact way he ended Cena.
And Goldberg. Don't forget Goldberg.
We don't talk about Old Berg.
All right, so I mean, where do you go with Gunther from here? Is he just going to keep ending careers? I mean, it looks like they're going to have him do something with Dragon Lee, or I don't know, but what is Gunther's role at WrestleMania this year?
I think Gunther's role at WrestleMania is run through the smaller guys on the roster and put them in the ring with Oba Femi. I think
Ooh.
him versus Oba Femi, it wouldn't kill either one of them. It would just make one of them look stronger than the other, honestly.
All right, so here's what I talk about with Gunther, and this is something that I think I know that you're going to have a strong opinion about. The year of Jey Uso, kind of being there's that face, that kind of being the surprise of winning the Rumble. I don't think that anyone really picked Jey, especially in our game, to win the Rumble, and here we are. He wins the Rumble. He goes on to Mania. He beats Gunther with his own move, mind you. You know, uh, but then almost immediately drops it back to Gunther, and has a little run going on with throughout the year, but now is basically back in a tag team. He's one half of the World Tag Team Champions. So the year of Jey Uso, do you think it was worth the experiment, or was it an epic fail? Or
I think it the best way to explain it, I think it was the best it could have been done.
Mhm.
You could definitely tell throughout Jey Uso's World Championship run, he was getting tired. Uh, his wrestling got a little bit more sloppier. It visibly showed to the audience that he couldn't stay up on that top game as other competitors were at. So they had to pivot from him, and unfortunately, going back to Gunther, that was the greatest choice at that time.
Do you think that the IWC as a whole didn't want to give him a chance because he was a tag team guy for so long? I mean, I'll applaud them for trying something. Yeet got over whether you want to admit it or not,
I
but
hated that. I still hate
it's
it.
still going on. But I mean, do you think that he got a fair shake? Do you think he would have had any chance whatsoever with the basic internet wrestling fan?
Absolutely not. The internet wrestling fans did not, in my opinion, they did not really want to see Jey Uso in that position, just like how it's turning out now. They're turning on him, plain and simple. When they have a
That
favorite guy, they push and want him to be on that top level, but when he gets to that top level, they say, "Oh, we're tired of this guy. We want a new Brownie."
that's the internet community in a nutshell. I mean, so I mean, but I mean, like I said, did you give him a fair shot? Were you open minded, or were you like, it's Jey Uso, who cares?
I did give him a fair shot. I believe with a lot of tag teams, I believe there's always one specific talent that can definitely outshine the other that deserves that singles run. And they tested that with Jey Uso, and I believe I gave him a fair chance, but I believe Jimmy would have went further.
I thoroughly don't believe that. I think of the two of them, that they made the right decision and who they're going to push. But do you think that spot would have been better suited for someone from NXT, or did they had to be someone from the main roster?
I think it could have worked either way. I believe they went with Jey Uso at the time because they saw the fan base he was gaining from not only the internet wrestling community, but the
Hmm.
people that were in the audience. You can't ignore when the crowd is demanding for a talent to get that attention.
Okay, so was it worth doing overall?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it's worth a shot, you think?
Yeah. You
Okay.
can't just keep pushing the same people to the top of the mountain. You gotta be risky and go with the underdog.
So who's next then? If you think Jay was a failure, and I don't, I just think it was like, eh. Who's next?
It's between two talents when it comes to mind.
Uh-huh.
That is either Trick Williams or that comes down to Mr. Oba Femi himself.
Yeah, Oba Femi, I think, is going to be the guy. He's going to be he's going to, like, I know the Miz said he wanted to do this, but he's going to fill that John Cena sized hole. I think he's going to be the guy that we see as the face of the company.
I would disagree as the face of the company per
Hmm.
se. I definitely see him potentially at that CM Punk level of thing,
Hmm.
almost at the face of the company, but not quite there just yet.
Speaking of Oba, are you okay with the way that they brought him to the main roster, just laying down the NXT championship and just walking into the main roster? Because me, no, I wasn't. You kind of
No,
have to, it hurts the title to have the guy just say, I'm done with this. I'm going to go to bigger things. He could have lost it a triple threat. He could have lost it anyway, not take the pin and move on. But,
literally the same night he dropped the title, he faced Leon Slater from TNA.
mhm,
I believe he should have just dropped it to Leon Slater. If they didn't want Leon to hold it, have him lose it in a few weeks or at the next NXT Premium Live event. Uh,
okay.
that would have been given an opportunity to a young talent that is extremely over in TNA.
Mhm.
But if they didn't want him to hold it that long, they could have just had him lose it the following week.
Okay. But I would have liked to have seen, you know, him drop it, and it's just there's been people that were bigger names than him that were NXT champion that dropped the belt the right way. Finn Balor, Bobby Roode, Samoa Joe. You know, every NXT champion on their way out lost the championship, and he just lays it down. I get you want to build a dominant. The dude crushed. I know you don't like him, but they crushed the War Raiders. These guys who
That
are
was fantastic to watch.
okay, but they're tag team champions. They're the contenders for the tag team titles, and you have one guy crush them, and you have him crush the Miz again. Say what you will about the Miz, but two-time Grand Slam champion.
Oh, I adore The Miz. The Miz is what I would classify as my favorite WWE superstar of probably all time, honestly. I was disappointed at how that match played out, of course, but I was a little bit more disappointed how they had booked Obafemi versus Kit Wilson. I
All
was
right, so
very
let's just yeah.
disappointed.
I know we're jumping around a lot, but let's talk about Kit Wilson. Is the music over or is he over?
I think a little bit of both. I believe he definitely has a little bit more of an improvement to do in the ring, but character wise, music wise, promo wise, the guy has it all. Absolutely. Has it all. Uh,
There you go, Jeremy Carp. The Miz is awesome. No pun intended.
at least me and Jeremy can agree on one thing out there. But yeah, Kit Wilson, he's definitely over with the audience. He's over with his character. He's over with his music, who is one of the very rare people on the main roster that has that custom music, which puts a little bit more specialty onto their talent.
Well, you look at his Titantron, and it's not just his name flashing. It's an old school Titantron, which I think is great because it's just shows that you need this kind of stuff. You need that stuff to get over. I mean, uh, by the time Bobby Roode came to WWE, the music got over huge. So did he, but he was also at that point where he was obviously winding it down. He's an agent now. But I mean, Glorious was over like crazy, much like Kit Wilson song is now. So I mean, it's magic. It just goes to show how many different elements you need to make a character.
Absolutely, and I think when it came to Kit Wilson reminds me, uh, presenting wise, a lot of Bobby Roode down in NXT, from the music to getting over and the crowd recognizing that music. Because when you
Mhm.
hear Kit Wilson's music, you can already tell that's Kit Wilson. You don't
What was
have
the
to think
complaint
about.
about last year's Rumble and this year's Rumble was that the music was so generic anymore. You used to be able to tell who it was like that when they came out. And with this Def Rebel crap, you couldn't. But now that we're getting away from that, I think we're in a new, pardon the pun, with Triple H saying it all the time, a new era to where the music's going to matter again.
Yeah, and I believe I know they changed Stephanie Vakir's theme song just a little bit not too long ago, but I think the biggest difference was the Kit Wilson's theme song.
Hmm.
I first heard of it when he started getting popular on TikTok, and then I finally saw it on the WWE SmackDown because I had stopped watching for about a couple weeks, and then all I hear is Kit Wilson's new
Yeah.
theme song, and it's like, what is
And
this?
it shows how few people actually watch main event because he used this song on main event the past couple weeks before he came to SmackDown. So it's just like even the wrestling junkie don't watch main event, so I didn't know about it. So
And I think just recently WWE started going live streaming their WWE main event on YouTube now. So
mm,
I don't think people have an excuse anymore.
yeah, it's I only got so much time for wrestling, my friend. All right, so one of the biggest stories this year from Mania to Mania was, of course, the John Cena retirement tour. Uh, Now, say what you will about it, and we're going to get into this. Is going to be a big section of the show because it was such a big thing this year. Started off with the best of intentions. Started off like, this is it. This is my date. This is what I'm stopping. Then the Rumble happens and he doesn't win, which I don't think anybody picked Cena in our game, did they?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah. So I didn't expect him to win, but that set up the chamber where people got what they wanted. John Cena finally turns heel with the help of The Rock and Travis Scott. And then those two guys never show up again to help. I mean, how much of Cena's, let's face it, disaster heel turn was the fault of Travis Scott, and especially The Rock, not showing up?
70% of it. 100%. 70%.
70%, 100%? That's a lot of
Seventy
percent there, my guy.
percent. 70% was it Travis Scott and The Rock. I
Okay.
believe if John Cena would have stepped up and took the ball and
Mhm.
ran with it, if of course backstage Triple H and the writers allowed him to, I think it would have been a success. A lot of people don't know Cena is a creative genius. And then I believe uh, during his time on his retirement run, he even mentioned his wife was helping with the women's division backstage with writing as well,
Yeah.
and helping him with his promos.
Do you think there's any universe where Cena would have retired as a heel, or was he always going to turn babyface before this thing was over with?
He was always going to turn babyface. I think Cena retiring as a heel would have been a disrespectful slap in the face to the audience that have watched him for years. So
Now, what was your overall impression of the length or the depth of the heel turn? Were you enjoying yourself, or was it like, I don't want to see John Cena like this? I mean, he made the kid in
um,
Belgium cry.
yeah, that was awesome. I believe part of my favorite moments was
Mhm.
not only Cena making the kid in Belgium cry and basically calling the the audience selfish, because all wrestling fans are selfish no matter what, if they want to admit it or not.
And
Uh,
wrestlers.
Absolutely, 100%. And the other favorite moment is when, right after that Royal Rumble, when he was on that press conference, he
Mhm.
basically said he's going to be in that Elimination Chamber. He's not going to fight for that spot because he deserved to put himself in there.
Mhm.
So I believe those were the two highlights of his heelish run right there. But
Yeah.
anything else really didn't stick out to me as much.
But you got to, I mean, even with all the stuff with Cody, you got to admit, going into Mania and getting that 17th world title. Now, I hate saying this, but real wrestling fans know that 16 wasn't the mark. Flair had a couple more championship reigns that aren't recognized, that were, from other companies or from variations of companies, or just freak title changes to not piss off the fans in, parts of the world. So Cena winning that 17th title, the first time winning a world title as a heel, and the last time as well. I mean, I expected him to win for sure. Uh, what I didn't expect was the meh run that he had with the belt afterwards.
I agree with that. I think it it was definitely fell short
Hmm.
of that important moment he had, and I don't know if it felt just because they were kept shoving Cody versus Cena down our throats and saying you're still gonna get this rematch.
Yeah.
Because I we'll talk about Cody later, of course, but I believe if they pivoted John Cena to face other talents and potentially even talents down from NXT, it could have definitely helped his reign a
Hmm.
little bit more as a heel.
I think one of the biggest fumbles was having. I know they want to do it in St. Louis, but having that last Randy Orton match so early in the run. That should have been one of the final matches, one of the final nails was one last Randy Orton match. Instead, we got it, what, 8 months before the
Yeah,
John Cena retirement tour ended. And I get it. Yeah, you want it to be in St. Louis. It means a lot to the fans in St. Louis and to Orton. But he should have been one of those last guys.
yeah, and I felt like that match was also a little bit rushed. I feel like they
Mhm.
could have hit a lot of different spots in their career. That unification WWE World Championship ladder match, they could have hit on that.
They
Even
could have hit on OVW days. I mean,
I felt like they just missed the ball with a lot of his matches, especially hitting on the history of them. Like the squash match with Brock versus Cena. What was the
yeah,
purpose of that?
Vince is weird. But the uh, the thing to me that was, and again, I think this title run was and heel turn was kind of botched. I usually give WWE the credit where it's due. It's like, hey, let it play out. I was watching this going, this is not going the way it's supposed to go. Because I mean, the way it ends is he turns face before the match ends. He's like, golly gosh, gee guys, you're right. I don't hate wrestling. I love wrestling. That would have been to me perfect after the match. If he loses to Cody, if he's standing in the ring and he feels the love and like, you know what, you guys, you're right. This is not about me, it's about the future. But instead he turns face the weekend before the match with Cody at SummerSlam, and come on, man.
It kind of made it look like heel Cena could beat Cody, but face Cena couldn't do crap to Cody. Uh, and I felt like a lot of the hate that the Cena versus Cody got at WrestleMania was because the audience expected more. To me, I slightly enjoyed it because it wasn't too much for that match. Yes, I understand the argument. WrestleMania, they should go above and beyond, but you have to remember, it's John Cena and Cody Rhodes.
Hmm.
They did more at their SummerSlam match because it was Extreme Rules or Hardcore rather than their WrestleMania match as a straight one-on-one basic match.
Yes, and Cody wins. Cody's also partially the new John Cena, beating John Cena, becoming the invincible hero to an extent. You know, Cody wins, LOL. What were your thoughts on Captain Rhodes over this past year? Were you digging it? Were you not?
I definitely was not digging it. I felt like they were kind of forcing Rhodes down our throats. I kind of felt like they should have taken him off TV a little bit longer. Yeah, I understand they took him off for to film that movie. I believe if he was off for a little bit longer, he came back refreshed and not feeling forced down our throats. I think I would have
It,
enjoyed his time last year.
it wasn't to me. It wasn't a Roman Reigns level of shoved down our throats because at least Cody still lost here and there. You know, Roman was unbeatable when he was either a babyface or a heel, so I'll give them that credit. But you know, I hate Captain Rhodes. I think it's a dumb sub gimmick. But I like Cody and I like the work he's doing, and I like the fact that he wants to be the guy. He wants to be the locker room leader. You know, he's very vocal about that. So to me, that's cool.
I I absolutely see that as well, but I 100% believe he needs to step out the way a little bit and let
Hmm.
others kind of get that spotlight. Yeah, I understand
You mean
now
like
you
Drew
have
McIntyre? He did
uh
that.
yeah, but I believe like there could be another talent in the locker room that could have at least got somewhat of that spotlight. You have The Miz, for instance, phenomenal athlete, been there for over a decade now, and I believe who has done his time,
2 decades.
2 decades. He's done his time, just sitting backstage, putting over talent. I believe it's time for him to get a little bit more of a spotlight instead of getting buried by I love Obafemi, but I believe The Miz should have put up a better fight in that match and
Again,
have another
two-time
opinion.
Grand Slam champion, first ballot Hall of Famer. The Miz has had a great career and is going to have a great career. He does not need to be that anymore. His job now, to me anyway, and this is just someone that is a student of the game, His job now is to be the guy that puts the guys over. He needs to set up the pins for the next game, and he's doing a great job of that.
Shouldn't that be also Cody Rhodes' job as well?
Yeah, and he's doing it. Drew McIntyre. Now, okay, we're recording this before the final SmackDown comes up here, where we could have a change in plans. So, I mean, if at Mania in Vegas, if we get Drew and Randy, great. If we get Cody and Randy, that might sell some more tickets. Get to that in a minute. But I don't know. Like, it was like we're what, 7 weeks out and don't have definitive cards yet. But
I bet so.
yeah, it is what it is. All right, rewinding back to Mania, the previous Mania in Vegas. You know, we found out kind of shockingly that the WWE purchased AAA, one of the biggest promotions in Mexico, right there with CMLL as being the big companies in Mexico. Were you surprised by this? Were you excited by this? Or were you just like, who cares? It's Lucha Libre.
I was more as I was iffy about it.
Hmm.
I'm glad it gives talent more opportunity,
Hmm.
but I feel like it's just another brand in TKO's portfolio.
Along with, Pro Bull Riding and all the stuff else they own, UFC, WWE.
Yeah.
Have you watched any of the weekly YouTube show?
I try to watch it.
Hmm.
I'm glad it gives talent like Jack Cartwell the opportunity to compete
Hmm.
on there. Get a little bit of that non-defending IC title Dominic Mysterio some time over there to perfect their craft over there and compete with some that would call some of the best lucha libre in the world.
Hmm. Have you enjoyed seeing, the new La Parca and Mr. Iguana and that type of, no, not really.
No,
I love
no,
Mr. Iguana. You can't, La
I
Yesca.
do
You
not.
can't. I know for a fact that you loved Santino and the Cobra. So how could you not
Absolutely.
like? How could you not like Mr. Iguana and Yeska?
Mr. Iguana took Finn Balor's spot in that Royal Rumble, and I know it whether they want to admit it or not.
Maybe La
And
Parca
then,
did.
well, I blame him too. That's why I don't like him either. As simple as that one.
Now, have you enjoyed Corey Graves being the lead guy on?
100%. I believe Corey Graves, one of the most underrated commentary one of the most underrated commentary members that I've seen since I've been alive, at least, who worked directly with Michael Cole. And I'd say Michael Cole is one of the best ones to learn from on that mainstream level. And just get him pushed aside and moved down to NXT. I'm glad he finally got his way back up on a new position at AAA.
All right. Now, you mentioned Dominic. Do you think Dominic has been good as the Mega Champion, or
No,
nah?
no. Mm-mm.
You want El Vikingo? Who do you want?
Anyone but Dominic Mysterio. I'll take Roman Reigns if he's an option on
Uh,
there too.
Always the hater, this guy. Always the hater. So, okay, a guy that has a great history in Lucha Libre that had a very interesting year, Andrade. He becomes the first person to ever go from WWE to AEW to WWE back to AEW, but then there's some legal issue and he's back there now full time. Uh, do you think he's ever going to get his due, or is this his place on the card just to be the guy, one of those guys on the card?
His place, you cannot doubt his talent. One of the best
Oh yeah, he's a
talents
great
that
wrestler.
you could ever see, and I believe he's just at a point in the wrestling industry where you either got to call your shot or you're just gonna miss it. And I think unfortunately he missed that.
Well, here's
I
here's my thing. He was doing okay in AEW. He wasn't really making many waves, but he was still on the cards regularly. Um, I think, and this has been speculation by pretty much everyone, he went back to WWE to try and save his marriage with Charlotte. And Unfortunately
And
for
then,
both, unfortunately both of them, that didn't work out, and he ends up sliding down the card in WWE. Comes back to a little bit of fanfare, and then kind of disappears again, and winds up back on AEW, makes a big splash, has a big moment with the Don Callis family and all that. But I wish the best for him. I just don't know what his spot is.
I believe Andrade when it comes to professional wrestling. He really doesn't have a permanent high position spot besides, oh, he's back. Let's put him in these big matches with Swerve, Omega.
Mhm.
And then after that happens, what's next?
Yeah.
Does
So I
he
mean,
want to
but
ROH?
I think you and I both wish him the best, and I hope that he does well in AEW. It's just I don't know that you want to be the first guy to be bounce like he's like Sid Vicious now, who bounced back and forth so many times. I know you're too young to know about Sid Vicious back in the day, but trust me, he did this too. So one of the things that came out of Mania weekend that was a little bit perplexing later on in the year was 2 straight years in Vegas, even after they announced it's going to be in New Orleans. They decided to go back to Vegas, and the bigger announcement was that WrestleMania in 2027 is in Saudi Arabia. Uh, Now, all our listeners know my stance on the Saudi shows. I don't watch them. I don't follow them. I didn't watch this year's Rumble, and hate to say it, I'm not going to watch Mania next year because I won't support these shows. So, Jared, have at it.
I will say I am a fan of the Saudi shows. I believe the production is a lot better than how they produce the pay-per-views in the United States. Whether it's because they have more funding that Saudi Arabia provides for them, that could be a major factor. But I've loved the setups. I've loved the matches that they've produced over in Saudi Arabia. But I believe the one thing that clearly lacks, and I'm not the only one that sees this, but I believe multiple other people sees this. The reaction from the crowds are nowhere near the same as it is in the United States or in Canada or in France. I believe in Saudi, it they they understand the love of the sport, but they really can't give that same reaction as other countries do.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that until recently they weren't exposed to this. I mean, we all had the joke about the first Saudi show back in 2018, that they wanted Yokozuna, who had been dead for about 10 years, to be on the show, and they wanted Warrior, who'd been dead for 4. So yeah, I mean, I think and I'll call it what it is. It's been sport washing. It's been, don't look at what Saudi Arabia's done. Don't look at who we are. Watch the golf tournament. Watch the wrestling. Watch any of this. And I will say this directly to camera. Look at me right now. There's these rumors that Vince wants to buy back WWE from TKO with Saudi backing. If that happens, Christopher Miles is never watching WWE again.
Well, I 100% would support Vince McMahon buying back the WWE with the backing of Saudi. Uh, I believe the only reason he would have the backing of Saudi is because of the money portion of it.
Hmm.
But I believe Vince McMahon running WWE would be better for the business. At
No,
least he's
sorry,
not
no.
putting himself on TV and saying a new era every other week.
You forget how bad things were when Vince was his final years. This is nothing compared to how bad that was.
He
Now,
just needed a break. He needed a couple-year break to get
so
that
let's okay,
mindset and
all right.
say, "Let's
Let's
get back to business."
let's talk about the perceived creative downturn in WWE, where it's gone downhill so creatively to some people a little bit. How much of that is now being part of a corporate entity as opposed to being just WWE? I mean, they have to answer to TKO. So how much of that is maybe wanting to pacify TKO or whoever is calling the shots now, or how much of it is just creative bankruptcy?
You know, I look at it kind of as you have Triple H,
Mhm.
Nick Khan. than Ari Emanuel.
Hmm.
I believe a lot of it falls back onto a little bit of Triple H,
Hmm.
but a lot of it falls back on Tony Khan. Not Tony Khan, Nick
Nick
Khan.
Khan. They're all the cons. It's fine.
It falls back on Nick Khan because he kind of has to answer to Ari Emanuel. Uh, Ari Emanuel is the one that calls the shots,
Hmm.
unfortunately. And I believe one of the biggest changes that we've kind of seen, and I think you will also agree because you also look at the stuff online about wrestling, is the ticket prices on that.
Cool. Yeah. Uh,
Uh,
I will say this. Like, I was curious because we got SmackDown coming into town here before too long, about a month or so, and the upper deck was usually $25, which is still a great place to watch a show. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the Enterprise Center here in St. Louis for hockey or for wrestling, the upper deck is not a bad place to be. $25, 35 for bigger shows in recent years, 90 plus dollars now. And their statement was, well, Vince was undercharging. It's a premium. It's a premium product, and it's a privilege to spend the kind of money to see our shows. And that was one of the most tone deaf things I've ever heard, because this is not wrestling is not you know high culture. As much as I love wrestling, it's not. It is entertainment for the masses. It's for everyone. This is not the opera. This is not anything special or sophisticated. It's wrestling. Wrestling fans coming to the shows is vital because, like, and got my own hockey jersey. Massive hockey fan. I love hockey. Hockey is the only of the four major sports that I think is better in the arena. I think watching at home is better for football, basketball, and baseball. It just is. But hockey just is so much better in the venue. Wrestling is the same way. Wrestling is great on TV. I love hearing the commentaries. I love hearing all that. But when you're in the venue, when you see all the flashing lights and the sounds, it's that much better. And you are pricing out the vast majority of your constituency when you do stuff like this.
yeah, and I believe both Matt Hardy and Randy Orton made a comment about how expensive it's gotten, along with
Mhm.
Teddy Long saying Vince McMahon would have never priced this. I know I was just looking at the SmackDown tickets on Ticketmaster, and I was looking at the most expensive price on there right now. It is currently the fourth row on the B B section for
Mhm.
$1,066.
And I'll tell you this, as someone who sat on the floor, if you're not in the first two rows, it sucks because you got to look over people. Ugh, it does kind of sicken me, which is why support independent wrestling. Go to indie shows.
Yeah, and it also makes me wonder, literally the day after they have NXT stand and deliver at the factory, how
Hmm.
much are those tickets going to be?
The same price. I looked, I looked at the pre-sale, and they're like 60, $70 for what was last year $25 ticket, and it's no, and I'm just not going to do it. I you know I have a family. We do stuff, and, like, I'm not going to take them. I'm going to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars for what, 4.5 hours of entertainment when you get main event and Raw. No, this is no.
Yeah, that's why I believe that'd be one of the pros if Vince McMahon did happen to return to WWE. Those ticket prices potentially would decrease. Probably
I
not
think, and
to as it was, but just a
yeah,
little bit down.
unfortunately, I think the toothpaste is out of the tube because they're still selling tickets. They still are filling places with these insane prices. So there's no way that if Vince did come back, he would drop them because it's proven they can do it. Now he probably would clean the ring off of all the ads, which that'd be the one thing I'd approve of. But I am not pulling for a Vince return because we need less people that are that creepy and weird in wrestling. I know he's an idol. I know he's a hero to you, but the man did some things.
Well, yeah, but of course, it's Vince McMahon, you know. A lot of people have forgiven worser people. I
Brock
will say
Lesnar.
that. That's one of them. And if he can come back to WWE TV, I believe Vince can come back and he's not even on TV.
But wouldn't you lose a pretty big portion of the audience if Vince was back? I mean, there's plenty of people that I'm not sure I'd watch. I mean, and if the Saudis are involved in watching, period. But having read Janelle Grant's lawsuit and watch the Vince McMahon doc on Netflix, I don't know if I could support him being around.
I don't think he would lose an audience. I know a lot of the internet wrestling community has a big supporting for Vince McMahon to come back.
All right.
Maybe it could be just because of the hatred Triple H got from the Cena retirement run, because of that massive boo he got at the end, and what he is still getting. But I don't know. I All I would say is I support if Vince McMahon came back.
Eh,
Would a lot of the wrestlers stay? I don't know.
that was my next question. Guys like Punk, who have a very bad relationship with Vince, and he just brought AJ Lee back. After all these years, we have AJ Lee. Never had her in AEW, but we have her back now. That everyone like, friend of the show Thornton was absolutely losing his mind when AJ came back. So it's like I know Punk's probably gone. I know AJ's gone, and there's probably a lot of people that are going to walk out the door. It.
I think as long as they're getting paid, except to certain ones that, such as let's say the CM Punk's case, I believe certain ones, as long as they're getting paid and viewed as they're worthy, they would stay. But I believe if it was something similar to Punk, they're out the door.
So we'll talk about a couple other little things before we get out of here. Before we wrap up and talk about the road to this year's Mania, I know that you were super excited for a particular AEW storyline. I know that you were super stoked for the reuniting of Jurassic Express.
Absolutely, 100% the best wrestler in the entire world, Jungle Boy Jack, well, Jungle Man Jack Perry, the scapegoat, the greatest of all time.
No, that is all hyperbole. Because I'll tell you what it is. Jurassic Express is back because Jack Perry didn't work as a single.
Wrong.
This is Jey Uso in AEW. It didn't work.
Wrong.
They tried. They tried. It didn't work. So they put back the formula that worked.
No, Jack Perry was extremely over as a heel as a singles competitor. Faced off with some great competitors in AEW. Had the TNT Championship run, the coffin match with Darby Allin. The guy speaks volume. I don't see why not enough people are thanking Jack Perry. If it wasn't for Jack Perry, CM Punk and AJ Lee wouldn't be back in
Oh, trust me, people
WWE.
are. There's so many people jokingly thanking Jack Perry for all of this, and it is what it is. But
But Jack Perry, he works as a singles competitor. The
but he
guy has
didn't.
it all.
But he
Oh, he
didn't.
did.
And he's now. I like Luchasaurus. I like Jack Perry. I like Jurassic Express. But to me, it just was like, hey, this isn't working either with Luchasaurus' kill switch working with Christian and also not working with Jack. So put them back together, and it instantly people were thrilled. They were doing the in the stands again with to Baltimore. So this is where both these guys belong.
Yes, I feel like what did bring them back together is the kill switch character. It just wasn't drawing as much as the Luchasaurus character
Hmm.
was with Jack Perry, but I believe with Jack Perry, he accomplished more, got over more, and did a lot more as a singles competitor.
All right.
Even with his stint with the Young Bucks.
JW. So here's my final question for you. Is there anything else over the past year that you really want to hit on before we get into this year's Road to WrestleMania?
Over the past year before
Because we've
this
been gone for
year's
a long time.
WrestleMania, there might be one thing. I think
Okay,
you might like this one.
go ahead.
How about Mr. No, the TNA and NXT partnership?
All right. I think it really benefited TNA. Um, they got which is strange to me because they got this new TV deal, which I hope they got licensing fees for because they went from they went from network that their parent company owned, and now they're on another network, AMC, which is a much bigger network than Access. Uh, but now they're also held to the standard of that company. They have to please that company, not just their parent company. So as to where I doubt that Anthem ever would have canceled NXT or TNA on Access. Now they're on AMC where there's expected to be ratings. And it's weird to me because the ratings have not really changed. They're really the same. They're around that 175,000 to 200,000 mark. But AMC likes it. They like what they're getting out of TNA or supposedly now. Like, have you watched any of the TNA on AMC?
Oh, absolutely, 100% I've been watching it.
Hmm.
I love the progress that TNA is attempting to make and have made so far with bringing in new talent and trying to produce the best matches that they know that they can produce. Uh, but I believe when it comes to the TNA and NXT partnership, it has most definitely benefited NXT a lot more than it has TNA.
I mean, you got a
Uh,
lot of guys that got a look. You got Trick Williams being TNA champion. You got Stacks being international champion. I think you got a lot of guys that needed to prove they could carry the ball that got the chance to do that, which is great.
yeah. Do you think the reason TNA got that AMC deal
Hmm.
was because they are working with TKO
I think
WWE?
it didn't hurt, but I mean, you know as well as I do. When this first started, they were actively campaigning to get TNA a Wednesday night TV deal as opposed to the Thursday one. They wanted them to go head to head with, you know, AEW. They wanted it to be a war that wasn't that they weren't going to lose. It wasn't them technically, and they tried to really prop up TNA. I mean, TNA had some of their biggest gates where this first happened. They had their highest grossing North American show ever when
Yeah.
this first started. So I think it's cooled off a bit since the AMC transition. You're not seeing as many, you know, uh, TNA guys and NXT guys on each other's shows. But
Do,
you know,
do you think if TNA went head to head with AEW every week, WWE would be more aggressive with
yes,
helping out?
they'd be stacking those cards. There'd be NXT guys all over it. That
Okay.
but it didn't work. I mean, Thursdays at 9 isn't a terrible time slot. It's not the best. It's a little late. It's a little late to start a show. Like I'm used to the 7 o'clock start times, so that 8 9 o'clock start time is a little late for me to start something because I'm old and I got to work. uh, you know, I think it's been a good year for TNA. I think they're gonna be going forward. I mean, they've got a great roster. I mean, yeah, look, they lost Joe Hendry to WWE, which was gonna happen when he got so over, had his Mania moment with Randy Orton. But I mean, they still got the Nimeths, they've still got, Mike Santana, it
Have Mustafa Ali when he's available.
yeah. And I just think if you're in TNA right now, you're not disappointed being there, like you may have been 3 or 4 years ago when you were, you know, drawing less than 100,000 on Axis. So,
Very true. Very true.
all right. So, are we ready now to discuss, get all caught up on this year's Road to WrestleMania?
Absolutely.
All right. Why the fuck did Roman Reigns win the Royal Rumble?
Because CM Punk isn't drawing the TV numbers that they need on Netflix. As
But
simple as that. He
the
can
numbers are
draw,
good. It's
but they know Roman Reigns can draw them more.
and I
That's
mean
as
that's the
simple as
that
that.
we have that match set. It's Roman, it's Punk, because Finn Balor
Oh,
couldn't pick up the win at Chamber, but we know that what that match is going to be. Um,
Or there could
Are
be another reason. They
are
don't want
you? Go ahead.
they don't want Roman Reigns to leave this May when his contract is up.
I I like Roman. He needs to go away for a little while. He needs to cool off for a bit, in my opinion. But I'll say this too. Are you at all excited to see Punk versus Roman? I mean, I'll watch it, but I'm not like super stoked about it.
I'm excited for the match. I believe it's long overdue for their one-on-one match because I
Hmm.
believe prior to this they only had one one-on-one match, I believe, and that's
Hmm.
when WWE had that throwback episode at Madison Square Garden when he was still with the Shield at the time,
Okay.
and where Punk put over Roman big time, saying he had more balls than the rest of them.
Yeah. So I mean, technically, Punk is the guy that brought Roman into the main roster through the Shield. So this could be a full circle moment.
Or would you say it was Seth Rollins?
There, he brought in all three of them. Moxley, Ambrose, Seth Rollins. So okay, Seth Rollins. Back up a little bit. What were your thoughts on the fake injury? Were you okay with it, or was it masterful storytelling, or were you like, don't ever use an injury for an angle?
It was masterful storytelling. I
Okay.
loved it. It fit perfectly for him at that time. Because you because he needed something to spice up his heel run just a little bit, and
Hmm.
you don't really see a Money in the Bank contract holder taking time off.
Hmm.
And I think that was one of the few instances, and it was pulled off perfectly.
So when we have this now, where we're just coming out of chamber, and Seth had to come back early and be the masked man. He is not cleared to compete, but the vision is so snake bit with injuries. I mean, poor Bronson tore his tricep this couple weeks ago, and Braun had what, shoulder surgery, and is the vision. I mean, this is terrible timing for all. It's always a bad time for an injury. This is like the worst timing possible.
Yeah, especially on the road to WrestleMania. Then you
Hmm.
have who I think is a phenomenal athlete, Logan Paul, who's still trying to push through. But I believe they should have put their eggs into Austin Theory's bowl.
Okay.
Literally, that guy has it all.
I
He's
mean, he won Money in the Bank. He cashed it in for a U.S. title shot, but I mean, whatever.
he faced John Cena at
Yeah,
WrestleMania. The
yeah.
guy has what they really need if they really wanted to invest into the future of the industry. Yes, I understand. You have Braun Breaker.
Hmm.
He's injured right now. But Austin Theory, he's back, he's healthy. I understand Logan Paul, he just has a hateable face that everybody
Very, very
wants to beat
punchable.
up. And it's like, put your eggs into Austin Theory and take him to the freaking moon, or at least to Mars.
So we have two options now for Mania, depending on what happens this Friday. We're either going to have Drew and Randy as it's scheduled right now, or we're going to have Drew or Cody and Randy because of the action of Drew McIntyre in that chamber match. Uh, there's lots of intrigue there with Cody and Randy because the legacy connection and going back years. The Drew and Cody storyline has been great with all the stuff they've done together. Which of those matches are you looking forward to see? Like, if you had to pick one of the two, are you want to see Cody Randy or Drew Randy? Because there's
Could
not
I
a lot
put
of
a
history
third
Drew
option?
Randy.
Could I put a third option in there?
Sure.
Drew McIntyre
Hmm.
versus Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton.
That was my guess, is they're going to end up in a triple threat, like we have some kind of schmaz on Friday, and it's just a triple threat. And
Potentially a fatal four-way match: Drew, Randy, Cody, and Jacob Fatu. Because
you don't
you
need
can
Jacob in this.
toss Jacob out of that picture right now. He's
Hmm.
still highly in that picture.
Sure, sure, but you could have him, squash, you know, Dom for the IC title or something. You don't need him in that picture just yet. Just yet. He will be soon.
Isn't Dom on Raw?
Because the brand split matters anymore. Come on. So, okay, last question. Mania to Mania, what's your excitement level? We've had a year build to coming up to this Mania. Are you at a 10? Are you at a 5? Are you at a 1?
I'm at a 4.
So not overly excited, but not displeased either. Slightly below average.
Uh, and my reasoning for that is
Hmm.
because there's really no build. All you really have is your women's champion, your WWE
Yeah.
women's champion. Uh,
Those are the only matches that are solid that we know are going to happen as of right now, as the
yeah,
women's title
just
matches, both of
the
them.
women's title match and the world heavyweight champion. Other
Hmm.
than that, U.S. champion, IC title, women's tag team champion, women's U.S., women's IC, and lower cards. There's nothing else stated for that. And you have about 8 weeks. To me,
7.
that's going to be 7. To me, that's going to be forcing like 6 other titles into a storyline.
Mm, okay. Now I put mine at about a 6.5 or a 7. Like, again, wrestling junkie, and the last Mania I get to watch because I'm not going to watch next year. Uh, I'm pretty excited. I think there's more meat on the bone for a Cody Randy match than there is for a Drew Randy match. But I think the triple threat does have. I think it is a bit a triple threat, there's lots of meat on that bone to me. That's something I can sink my teeth into. Roman Punk, I don't care about at all. Just I don't. And the women's title matches, I think, are going to be great because I think Jade Cargill has come a long way since signing to WWE. Her time in AEW, she was good on the mic and she looks amazing, but she just didn't have the ring work. Let's be honest. But she's come a long way, and I think she's going to do great things at Mania. And same with Vaquer. it's gonna the promo that they did with her and Dom and Liv was amazing. It sets up everything perfectly. So I mean, Rhea Ripley, Jade Cargill, two huge women. Muscle mommies going at it, and then you got the intrigue of Vaquer and Liv Morgan. So why not? I think on the women's side we're solid. What?
I'm tired of them forcing Liv Morgan down our throats.
You
I
you
really wish.
think everyone's popular is forced down your throat?
Well, here's the thing. Liv Morgan, she was in the World Championship picture prior to her injury.
Hmm.
Then she comes back into it immediately. I feel like Raquel Rodriguez should have been in that picture. She should have been
Okay.
the one at WrestleMania facing Stephanie Vaquer.
End of discussion. We're done here. This is over now. So you're less than average excited. I'm slightly above average excited for Mania. So we'll get there. Anything you want to say to the good folks before we get out of here for this week?
It is phenomenal to be back with all those wrestling fans that have issues.
Yes, and we'll be back to our normal format of picking a topic and deep diving into it when we come back next week, the week after. Not sure yet, but schedules permitting. But as always, get 10% off of your order with promo code 123miles at w.gg. Get some lovely energy or hydration powder, totally free of dyes, free of artificial flavors, sugar-free, good, clean energy. And get your deemed fit apparel with promo code 123miles, 10% off that as well. And that is clothing that supports first responder charities for mental health, be it our military, our firefighters, our police officers, EMS, all those great first responders, and they really work with their mental health. And of course, who could forget? You could get your Christopher Miles, your IWW, your Jared Shannon t-shirts, ProWrestlingTees.com/Christopher Miles. Buy our merch. Give me your money. Jared, it's been great to see you again. Great to be back.
Absolutely, Mr. Miles. It has been phenomenal to see you on the other side.
Yes. But as always, until next time, for Jared Shannon, I'm Christopher Miles, and we've got issues with wrestling.